with a first reading from the poet Danusha Lemaris called Small Kindnesses. She's just thinking about the small ways in which we take care of each other, and whether that might add up to something larger. Small kindnesses. I've been thinking about the way on a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by. Or how strangers still say, bless you, when someone sneezes. A leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we're saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it, to smile at them and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down the bowl of chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy? These fleeting temples we make together when we say, here, have my seat. Go, you first. I like your hat. I didn't add that last line, by the way. It was there in the poem, although I love it when people tell me they like my hats. The Bible reading for this morning comes from Mark chapter 6, and you can probably guess what it's about. It goes like this. Jesus had sent out his followers to go out into surrounding towns and teach. He sent them out in pairs with no money or anything, just rely on the kindness. Offer them what you've got. And then it picks up here. The apostles came back to Jesus and told him all they had done and taught. So he said to them, come away by yourselves to someplace remote and rest a while. Because there were a lot of people just going all around and about, and the apostles hadn't even had time to eat. So they went away in a boat to a deserted area. But the people saw them leaving, and many recognized who they were. So they ran together on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of the apostles. When Jesus got onto the shore, there was already a large crowd waiting for them. And he had compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And so he began to teach them a lot of things. By now it was getting very late, so his disciples came up and said, Teacher, it's late and we're in a deserted space. Send them into the town so they can get something to eat. Remember, the disciples themselves hadn't had anything to eat yet. But he said to them, you give them something to eat. And they said, you wanted to spend half a year's wages on bread for these people? I don't know if that was their tone or not. And he said to them, how many loaves do you have? Go and see. And when they had found out, they said, 5 loaves and a couple of fish. So then he told them to get all the people to sit down in groups on the green grass. I love that it specifies on the green grass. That is in the Greek. I double-checked. So they sat down in groups of 100 and groups of 50. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and he blessed them like communion. And he broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to take around and set before the people. And he also divided the 2 fish among them all. And all of them ate and were filled. And they took 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of the fish. In all, 5,000 families ate that day. That's the story. Tell me something good. Yeah, that's the Lenten theme. And I know the world is falling apart. And really, I just started the sermon with that again because Priscilla didn't sing any of that Rufus and Chaka Khan song last week. So I wanted to get it back in your head. But it is the theme of Lent. So tell me something good. Or you can store it up until the prayer time. I'll tell you something good. It starts on a weird note. Back in the fall, when the federal government shut down Do you remember? Do we even remember that? Every day brings its own manufactured crisis. It's hard to keep track of what happened when, if anything happened at all. But yeah, back in the fall, the government was shut down. Maybe you remember what they did with SNAP benefits then. The things that we give to vulnerable people so they will be able to eat. And I don't mean the cruelty of what they did in the budget bill, where they added more restrictions and requirements onto people who are already spending a lot of their regular time just trying to survive. Honestly, it does seem like our government is overrun these days by people who take some kind of perverse pleasure in making poor people suffer. But I mean the added indignity of using SNAP benefits and the people who receive them as hostages in the government shutdown. Maybe you remember the threats to literally starve children, is what that was. But maybe you also remember the groundswell of people who started to buy extra groceries to stock community fridges, or the businesses that tried to stand in the gap. I still remember Tosca down the street posting on social media, if you're on SNAP, come by and we'll give you pizza, no questions asked. I remember Weaver's Way Co-op starting up a fund asking members to donate extra so that they could give a boost to other members who needed it. In Portland, Oregon, Heretic Coffee Company, I love it, by the way, Heretic Coffee Company, jumped into the fray. As November 1st loomed, with the threat of benefits being totally cut off, the owner, Josh Harris, posted on his cafe's Instagram page, if you are losing SNAP benefits and are unsure how to feed your family, then breakfast is on us. No proof needed, no questions asked. Just come and tell the barista you want the SNAP breakfast, and they'll know what to do. They were offering a breakfast burrito and a coffee, no charge, each day until SNAP benefits might be restored. There's a fantastic ABC interview that I watched several times this week. And he says that for the first hour after he posted that on Instagram, he was in a total panic because his words, we don't have that many burritos. And he said that a couple folks told him that his business was going to go bankrupt within a week. But his clarity on that point is amazing. He said, literally shut our doors. If we go broke making sure children have food for breakfast, I'm really okay if that's the reason why we lose our business. But funny things happen when you start taking stock of your loaves and fishes. Other people offer some of theirs as well. So there's a moment, this is the moment I had to watch several times. There's a moment in that interview when Harris says that someone suggested setting up a donation page, so he did that. He says, yesterday, we were at $14,000 raised. I've got my phone right here. We'll do a live look to see how much has been raised. As of right now, it's $66,279. Except that he can't get through that number smoothly because his voice catches as his eyes tear up, which is what happened to me every time I read that. He sets his phone down briefly to continue the interview, and then picks it up after just a couple of moments, and says, okay, we're now at 67,159. More people donated while he was talking there. At that point, more than 2,000 people had donated already. The largest donation was $200, part of a loaf. I mean, that's not really what a loaf of bread costs these days yet, but neighbors wanted to make sure that every day. By the time the interview actually ran, They had already raised $184,000, and he was out pledging on social media to be transparent. He said, if SNAP benefits are renewed, we will publicly and transparently figure out the best way to handle donations. The word had gone global. When November actually rolled, the donation total was up to $300,000. Halfway into the month, they had raised $360,000. I think they probably were able to get enough breakfast burritos. So tell me something good. Let's be clear about the fact that personal charity is not up to the task of replacing public benefits and funding that the government has stripped away. Adequately taxing billionaires would be, but that's a conversation for another day. This is about how people have responded creatively and generously urgency and scarcity. Much like how the people of Minneapolis responded creatively and generously when the federal government invaded their state, organizing by the thousands in sub-zero temperatures to put themselves in to protect their neighbors. It all sounds to me a little bit like, well, you all know that I listen to a lot of jazz music, or a lot of what I think of as jazz-adjacent music, music that is created with a lot of improvisation. And what is improvisation? You could call it making it up as you go along. And there's a touch of that. But it's also more than that. Sam will set me straight if I say anything wrong. He's an expert at this. When musicians improvise, they're drawing on basic skill sets that they have already worked on. They're listening to their creative partners to hear what they are contributing, and what their partners are contributing will help them shape what they offer themselves. They're listening to what the situation sounds like in the moment, and they're listening for how it might take shape from there in the next moment. Am I doing good so far? Okay, good. Sometimes what they offer doesn't entirely work. And sometimes you can hear them recalibrate in real time. Sometimes it all locks in, and you can feel in your bones that this is where it had to go. It's all rooted in practicing the basics and listening and responding. And you don't have to be an expert. It also includes giving what you have to give. There's a story about the great pianist Cecil Taylor leading student workshops, I think at Antioch College in Ohio is where I saw this one from. He was kind of leading them in a process of improvisation, but they didn't have to be fancy. Just the thing I remember from the story, if I have this right. Sometimes I make up stories too. I don't mean to. But he said something along the lines of, if you only know one note, just listen to what's going on and play that note at the right time. Just give what you've got to give. Practice the basics. Listen, respond. And so I'm going to ask us to do a little bit of that right now. Meg very generously and wonderfully agreed to help me with this. You might have been wondering why there was a table full of instruments in the room. I'm going to invite you to come out. You can come out and choose one too if you don't want to rely. Go ahead, come on, folks, come on out. Let's get some instruments. Folks on Zoom, I know it's not going to be the same for you because you have to stay on mute, otherwise it works really weirdly. But you can improvise with whatever you've got in your room, and you'll be making a sound that is unique to your space. And I'll give you a microphone so folks can hear what what you're leading us to do.
Improvisation is about attunement.
There we go.
This is the scariest one. Who wants the scariest instrument of all, the triangle?
I want the groove block
take it.
because it says groove block on it.
Improvisation is about attunement, and attunement to ourselves. Oh, you have some already. You can have some. Attunement to ourselves. My heart is beating a little bit faster than usual right now. And when I attune to myself, I can tell that. My personal tempo right now is about and if you all attune to me, now, keep going, keep going, keep going. I love this. All of us can also attune to the instrument we have in our hands. Get to know it a little bit. See what else it can do. Can you hit it in a different way? Can you shake it instead of tapping it? Can you make it go louder? And softer? Can you make it softer? Can you do something that your neighbor is doing? And attune to someone nearby. Now do something different. And now we're all attuning to each other, aren't we?
Amen.